very much. And certainly it shows you how we are beginning to move together as a people, which really bothers the enemy very much so. And for us to be able to come together in such a loving manner week after week. And we are so at ease with each other. See, then the enemy wants to get in on it. All right, we ain't asking for him. We've left him alone. All right, he said, I want your license. I gave it up to him. All right, he's still bothering us. All right, you know, I came right back to the community, right here in Bed-Stuy. I ain't bothering nobody, but he's still following us because we are too happy. All right, we are too happy. We're enjoying ourselves too much, so we have to go downtown next week to deal with him. All right, because they have a problem with the love that is being extended. Tonight, before we do get started, we do have a special guest here in terms of scheduling, who is a poet, Brother Malik Canty. Brother Canty is a teacher at Eastern District High School. He's a spiritual vessel, a voice chosen by our ancestors to speak for them. And let us give a warm round of applause again for Brother Malik Canty.
Namaste. Do you know me? My teachers were many: Jesus, Garvey, Elijah, Sojourner, Mega, Harriet, Malcolm, King. Do you know me? When I was little, the only accepted national theme song I ever heard was Get On Back If You're Black, sung by a group called the Enforcers. Do you know me? I represent a tired majority who is always fighting for dignity and equality. Do you know me? I don't carry the American Express card or have a $50,000 job, because that'd be the reason why life is so hard. Do you know me? My forefathers was called Pharaoh. My mother was called Queen. They removed me from the cradle of civilization, made me build other nations, gave me a new home called plantations. Do you know me? They beat me until I forgot my true name. They took my clothing and replaced them with chains. Do you know me? Do you know me? Do you know me? I sure as hell don't. This poem is called Where's Justice? Does anyone know how and why justice keeps avoiding those who really need it? What strong forces are at work and so strong that they can influence and make justice do a disappearing act? Where's justice? Has anyone seen it visiting in the poor neighborhoods? Poor people have put out a missing person report in hopes of finding out what happened to justice. The affluent communities seem to have a hotline that they use to keep up with justice. Where does justice go when a crime has been committed against someone who can't afford a high-priced lawyer, who doesn't come from a wealthy family? Something is wrong here. The people are getting tired of marching, screaming, protesting, and searching of justice. Where are the intense investigations that others get when a crime has been committed against them? Why can't decent, poor people penetrate the blue wall that often accompanies police brutality? Why is it that the media, the politicians, and others who have the power to force justice to show up turn a deaf ear to the cries of a parent who is in desperate need of an answer to stop their pain? Where's justice? Tell him to visit others who for centuries have not been able to catch up with him. Tell him to stick around for everyone, not just for some. Tell him we forgive him for hiding. We know he was persuaded to keep a low and no-show profile to those who really need him. Where's justice? If you see him, hold him, for many people are convinced that he does not exist for them. This poem is called You Don't Know. It is by design that you don't know who you really are, black man. It is by design. Diabolical planning of the highest order was used to remove the aura of greatness that you were created with. You don't know who you really are, black man. You are not a joker, buffoon, someone handy with a mop and broom. You are not headless and careless as you are often portrayed to your woman and children. You are not cold, insensitive, unproductive, bent on destruction, murderish, clownish, unreliable as the world has been conditioned to believe that you are. You don't know who you really are, black man. Let me try and give you an idea of the magnificence of you. The pyramid, the Sphinx, temples only tell part of the story of your ancient glory. You were the first star child. When the galaxy was being formed, you were being born. You were godlike in all your endeavors, black man. When the world was new, there was nothing you couldn't do. There are ancestral secrets stored deep inside of your pyramid body. Secrets that many have tried to use and remove. Secrets that are ingrained only in people like you. Star secrets, cosmic secrets, universal diagrams are inside of the black man. You don't know who you really are, black man, who you really are. The sun, the moon was under your command. You don't know who you really are, really are. This poem is called Warriors, and there's a lot of y'all out here tonight. So this poem is for you who know the truth and refuse to submit to those age-old lies about your race. Our ancestors are very proud of you, representing them in all your endeavors. Our ancestors know that you have withstood the ridicule and the scorn of many people who believe that you were wasting your time trying to keep their dreams alive. I salute you for standing firm and proud while others were afraid to stand with you. I salute you for looking falsehood in the face and making the seeds of deception acknowledge that not all of us are scared of the white shadows. Our ancestors whose lives were a living hell when the creators of racism came out of their devilish shell are thankful for descendants like you. Our ancestors whose backs were mutilated by the whip, whose bodies were led to the ships against their will, are thankful that descendants like you did not forget what they went through. This poem is for you who recognize and don't care that others complain that your method and ways of mannerism are too black for them. You are the true warriors who refuse to back down. Our ancestors have guided you, molded you to represent them, and you have did it well. Because of people like you, our ancestors who are still with us in the realm of the spirit, have a voice, have an artist who is not afraid to tell their story. Stay strong in your belief. You have been chosen while many have remained frozen. Represent, represent. It's the only way you will get them to repent. This last poem I'm going to leave you with is called Ancestors. Because the ocean ran red with the dead. 100 million bodies, your ancestors, my ancestors. The screams from the depths of the ocean floor had become silent only because of the perseverance of the survivors. Your ancestors, my ancestors. How can we allow ourselves to ever forget those who never made it in the record books and remain nameless as if they never ever existed? They came in ships to conquer, to stock up on human cargo, to build their world. Cramped quarters, death boxes, piles of flesh squeezed together for a middle passage ride to a new way of life for those who were not white. Your ancestors, my ancestors. No one enjoyed this journey of death more than the sharks. Man overboard, woman overboard, nation overboard. The Bermuda Triangle and its mysteries only exist because of the restless spirits that still yearn for justice, for payback. Your ancestors, my ancestors. I am here to collect a debt.
Brother Malik Canty. Let's give Brother Malik Canty a warm round of applause. Thank you very much, Brother Malik Canty. We have a lot of talent in our community. A lot of talent. Speaking of talent, we have a renowned poetess in our community and with us this evening, and we want to recognize her, Sister Jessica Karen Moore. Sister Jessica Karen Moore. Let's give her a warm round of applause. Sister Jessica Karen Moore. Thank you very much, Asante Sana, for coming out, being with us this evening. Karen Moore. Sister Jessica Karen Moore. Let's give her again a warm round of applause. We want to really thank all of you who have come out this evening, and particularly those who may be coming out with us for the first time. We want to particularly thank you, and we want to acknowledge you by please standing and everybody else giving you a warm round of applause for coming out. Those who have come out for the first time this evening, would you please stand so we can give you a warm round of applause? We certainly want to extend our hand of fellowship and welcome to you, and want to let you know that on every Wednesday evening, 52 weeks out of a year, non-stop since 1988. Non-stop. I don't care what's happening outside, we're always inside. And so you don't even have to worry about it. If it's a storm, it's a blizzard, whatever is happening, you will find us here. We have never missed a Wednesday evening, never since we have started. And so you don't even have to think about it. You know, sometimes people call the office and say, y'all gonna be there next Wednesday? So we're always there. You don't never have to call and ask for that. We're always here, and we always have something of interest for you. Brother Clarence, how you doing? Glad to see you this evening, brother. Find yourself a seat. We want to also thank our drummers for this evening, Sister Khadijah Black and Brother Vaughn. Let's give them a warm round of applause. You finally qualified, Sister Khadijah. When we honored Dr. Jeffries in December over at Bethany, the scheduled drummers had not arrived, and she offered her services. And I told her that UAM is not amateur hour. We got to know what you can do. And so at our next membership meeting, she brought her drum for an audition. So she has become one of the regulars ever since. Sister Khadijah. And finally, Brother Charles Lilly, I don't know who helped you this evening, but you did a great job in putting this whole in an appropriate African setting, you can provide me with the name that we can thank them. And then we also want to thank TransAtlantic Productions for giving us the fruit and putting together the stage, headed by Minister Clemson Brown. See, anytime Clemson gives you something, you have to give it away. Because we're trying to get Clemson in the tradition of giving, Brother Eric. Yeah, giving him the African spirit. He's learning. He thought he was going to take this fruit home, but he found out that's not going to be the case. Not this time. So we want to thank everybody. At this moment, we want to move rather quickly and do our love offering for the week, because the people that come to us have made great sacrifices, and we could never repay them for the sacrifices that they have made and for the pain that have been put on them for making that sacrifice. And certainly our keynote speaker for tonight needs no introduction in that respect. Those who go back know that this brother has been on the firing line all along, and there are many reasons why we want to give, and give very generously. Started on Tuesday, and they said this is etched in stone. These depositions are going to continue until they are completed. There will be no adjournments, no recess, nothing. All right, they're going to continue until they are complete. Well, we got him on the stand the first day. I threw some softballs at him way out in left field. He thought he could handle that. Then the next day, I threw a curveball at him. He started getting a little nervous. And then by Thursday, I threw him one of those old fastballs. Now, remember, they said this was etched in stone. Well, he announced on Thursday that he figured he needed a vacation. So, out of the clear blue sky, he said, Mr. Referee, it's about time for me to go on vacation. Referee looked at me, Mr. Matt, you have an objection? I said, sure. He said, you mean you're not going to allow this poor man to go on vacation? I said, I thought it was etched in stone. But see, white folks change the rules on you, all right, for their convenience. All right, so we went out and we came back, and we figured that the week's adjournment would bring us back to February 10th. So we came back. The referee said, well, when will these depositions resume? But Gona said, well, I'll be gone to about February 10th. The referee said, okay, we'll start back February 10th. His daddy said, I'm not going to let my boy testify unless I'm here. Now, Begona's is nearly 40 years old himself. His daddy got to be there to hold his hands. So the referee said, well, you got a lawyer here. He said, I don't care. My boy is not testifying unless I'm here with him. He said, well, what's your problem? He said, I'm going on vacation. He said, when your vacation starts? He said, on the 10th. So the referee said, well, how long is your vacation? He said, my vacation for a whole month. Now, remember, this is a case that was etched in stone. And now we up to St. Patty's Day. All right? We're up to St. Patty's Day. But I can only tell you that this boy is in trouble. All right? Now, some of y'all are not familiar with Charles Hamilton Houston, who was the greatest lawyer of all times. Clarence Darrell could not touch his toes. But many of you are very familiar with Perry Mason. All right. Well, when I ask my last question up at Gonus, white folks gonna be calling me Perry Mason. All right. When I ask my last question up at Gonus, y'all know the outcome of every Perry Mason fictional story. Well, that's gonna be Pagonis' last act. It's gonna be all over. I already got him in the grips. He cannot get out. I don't care what he does. He's gone. He's gone. The last question, Minister Brown, he's gone. And the great thing about it is that over their objections, we slid something past them, and we are videotaping the whole thing. All right? We're videotaping the whole thing. And what happened was I slid a notice by them, and they didn't catch it. And they made no objection to it. And when they looked at it, they knew they was in trouble. The lawyer examined it from corner to corner, and it met every requirement of the law. Every requirement of the law. And so they had to back up. They had to back up. I just want to let y'all know that because I'm going to stay sharp. I told y'all before, y'all thought y'all saw a lawyer 7 years ago. Y'all getting ready to see a real lawyer now. And so we are dealing with that, but in the meantime, we have to deal with this matter next week. And we're going to do it again downtown. Brother Kwame, this is a very extraordinary situation, but they allowed me to practice law again. All right? So, in this one case, not that they wanted to, but you see, I did a little research on them, Carol. And I found out that under the law, the whole organization had a right to serve as individual counsels. And I told them that we had 1,000 lawyers to represent UAM. See, the court rules did not prevent that. They knew I had them. We busted the law wide open again. And we told them that we had 1,000 lawyers. They checked the law and realized that they could not stop 1,000 folks from serving as lawyers. And that meant they had to have a council table that would seat 1,000 people. And so once they recognized the vice that we had them in, they changed the law and said, well, you can represent them. So they issued an order. See, white folks can do anything they want, right? That's what happens when you have power. You just rewrite the rules. All right, so rather than deal with 1,000, they're going to deal with me. So we back in the South. We know how to deal with them. All right, we know how to deal with them. It's always good to have a court challenge. I may not know a lot, but I do know a little bit about that. And certainly it is great to be able to go into this period and to have the brother on stage tonight who we are getting ready to welcome here at the Masonic Temple, because he truly, without him knowing it, raised a whole new level of consciousness, not only for me, but many persons who attended Howard University in the early 60s. Howard University had been accustomed to producing the Dave Dinkins of the world. All right, that's what Howard was noted for. All of the Toms would be, and Thomasinases were being produced at Howard University. And, well, Dave was born about 12 years ahead of his time. Now, if he had been down there with Kwame Ture, we would have had a black mayor. All right? If he had been down there with Kwame Ture, we would have had a black mayor. Because literally, this brother changed the whole complexion of Howard University. I say that figuratively and literally. All right? He changed the entire complexion of Howard University at a time when I was there, and really put us in the vanguard of the student struggle. If you go back to the early period of time, it was not Berkeley and other places white folks would like for you to believe that the student movement started. That wasn't where the student movement started. It was on black campuses, and Howard University was certainly in the vanguard of that, and it was certainly someone then known as Stokely Carmichael who really gave us new values and gave us an understanding that it wasn't all about wealth, but a commitment to the liberation of our people that changed many of our minds about our futures. And certainly, I'm pleased tonight to be able, once again, to welcome him to Brooklyn, to the United African Movement, and to the Masonic Temple. A brother who has stayed on course, has never been off course throughout all of these years. And it was a funny thing that happened. A few moments ago, we were down at the restaurant with Brother Kwame, and I was talking about all the things that white folks have to get you off course. Jobs, positions, things of that nature. And his sister hollered out, "You forgot white women." And Brother Kwame looked around and said, "I tell you, brother, that's the reason why I'm on course, because of sisters like that." Said she would not tolerate me being any other way. And so I tell you, black man, behind every strong black man, there are stronger black women. All right? That have allowed us to stay on course. And so, again, tonight we're very pleased that family is here, along with this brother, along with his admirers, along with many of you who have, in one way or another, supported his efforts. We want to stand on our feet and put our hands together for one of the truly committed warriors of the 20th century, Brother Kwame Ture. Let's give Brother Kwame Ture a warm round of applause. Brother Kwame Ture.
Good evening. We thank you for your warm welcome. We always thank you for your warm welcome. Yeah, yesterday when our leader called me, let's run out the door. I said to him, I said, "Oh, my brother, I see that they've got you under attack upstate. I see they've got you under attack downstate, you know." Then he continued, he said, "Well, they got me under attack from the right, from the left." He told me some of the other attacks that they have against him that I didn't know. And after a while he said, "I'm under attack everywhere." I said, "Well, you know what that great son of Africa, Sekou Touré, said?" He said, "No." I said, he said, "If the enemy ain't doing nothing against you, that's because you ain't doing nothing." So he said, "What do you mean by that?" I said, "No, if the enemy ain't doing nothing against you, ain't doing nothing." So I said, in the 60s, I once called a brother, you know, and one said, "What you call me for?" I said, "Well, I call you to talk to you." "You know everybody you call, the FBI gonna tap their telephone?" I said, "Your telephone not tapped?" He said, "No." I said, "I'm sorry, I called the wrong person." Because, you know, if his phone ain't tapped, I don't need to talk to him. So we told the brother, he said, "Don't you worry about it. The more the enemy attacks you, it means the more you're doing. The more they attack you, continue doing what you're doing. Because there's no greater honor than to die for your people. When I was a young man in the struggle, I thought with all my power that we were going to win. Now that I'm an old man, I know exactly how we're going to win. It is on this point that we want to speak tonight. This point of thinking you're going to win and this point of knowing you're going to win divides our people again down the line. We'd like to talk about the conscious from the unconscious. Again, this aspect of the conscious and the unconscious is crucial to us. A people cannot be free unless they are conscious. Irrespective of all the struggles they wage, once they remain unconscious, they shall never be free. Here we can give all sorts of examples. Our people have been rebelling against this system since we first came into contact with it. We started on the shores of Africa when they came to get us. We fought them on the ships while they brought us across. And everywhere they've taken slavery, into Peru, into Argentina, into Brazil, everywhere the slave trade led, slave rebellions faithfully followed. There wasn't one place where we were enslaved where there was no rebellion, not one. Therefore, these people are people who love justice. As a matter of fact, the other day when a man was talking to me about the history of America and our people in here, they confuse it sometimes. You know, when you're oppressed by an enemy, you must be careful to know you have two different histories, and not only two different histories, but two histories who are diametrically opposed. If America is fighting in Vietnam and I go help them, I'm stupid. Because if I help them, I'm helping my enemy. America's fighting Vietnam, my job is to help the Vietnamese fight America at the same time. This is how I make history. And oppressed people do not make history by making the history of their oppressor. Anytime you make the history of your oppressor, you're against yourself. And oppressed people make history by fighting against their oppressor. This is the only way you make it. Now, as an unconscious people, we make great strides. I want you to know that. We have unconsciously gone from burning plantations to burning cities. All of this is unconscious. It's not even planned. When I think about the 1992 rebellion in Los Angeles over the Rodney King terrorizing by police, I just think, you know, if we had just organized about 4 hours before the rebellion, you know, I ain't asked for nothing big. You know, get some Molotov cocktails ready, nothing big. Get some tires ready to burn to keep the police out of certain areas, nothing big. You know, get some snipers to figure out which buildings we need to be on to shoot at them, nothing big. But all the times we have rebellions, they're unplanned, spontaneous, on the spot. We are a people, we will never tire of saying, who act together but do not think together. This division must be properly understood. We have such hatred for the enemy, such love for justice, that at a drop of the hat we rise up. But once you're unconscious and you rise up on instinct. And instinct is not reason. It doesn't think, it just reacts. Therefore, once you rise up on instinct, after a while, you will fall down on instincts. Thus, if you look at the history of our people in their struggle, we rise up, we sit down. We rise up, we sit down. We rise up, we sit down. Of course, each time we rise up greater, but we always sit down. The error is sitting down. The error is sitting down. Once we rise up, we must stay up. This is the central task we face as a people. Our people, we say, are courageous. We can see it anywhere. Once a man told me, you know, the problem with our people is that they're cowards. I told him, shut up. You must be careful. Don't be saying bad things about your people, especially lies. I've seen these people, 16 years old, 80 years old, face machine guns, face police dogs, face police hoses with nothing but nonviolence in their heart. I've seen them. I've seen them 16 years old, 90 years old, throw Molotov cocktails at tanks coming through their community. These people are not afraid. They are unorganized. This task of the conscious coming to organize, we will never stop hammering away at. We must make some distinctions, just some, between the conscious and the unconscious. Of course, there are a lot of them. But one of the fundamental differences between a conscious brother and an unconscious brother is that the unconscious brother is not aware of what he's doing. He acts on instincts. A conscious brother acts on reason. The unconscious brother will rise up in a minute and strike out at anything. But the conscious brother knows exactly who the enemies are. So when the unconscious brother is throwing wild bricks and bottles, the conscious brother is aiming his bullets exactly at the enemy. Therefore, one of the greatest differences between the conscious and the unconscious is that the unconscious acts on instinct. The conscious acts on reason. One of the great distinctions between the conscious and the unconscious is that the conscious belongs to organizations, the unconscious do not. One of the differences between the conscious and the unconscious is that conscious goes themselves to get information from the people who are saying it. They go to primary sources. The unconscious takes it from any source. For example, if you're a conscious sister, you know Minister Louis Farrakhan years ago. You yourself have gone to hear him when he said he's coming to New York. I'm going to hear him. And you go down there and you hear him yourself. If you're an unconscious sister, you hear about Farrakhan on television, where they give you the news in 30 minutes of the world. Or they give you sound bites. How can you give a message of a minister, Louis Farrakhan, in a sound bite? The unconscious then do not know their people. They wait for the enemy to inform them about their people. The conscious know their people from going to hear their people. These differences between the conscious and the unconscious must be properly understood. We will never keep repeating, a people will not be free until they are consciously organized. Will not be free. One of the stirring differences between the conscious and the unconscious is in relationship to knowledge. The conscious knows that they will never know everything there is to know, but the conscious never stops trying to know everything there is to know. This point must be properly understood. The conscious human being then is one who is continually studying, consciously studying, all the time studying. They know until they die they will study, and the real conscious systematically studies. The unconscious doesn't study. The unconscious get their love for their people from their feeling. I feel this love for my people. What about the history of the people? Well, I don't need to know the history of my people. I feel my people. The unconscious doesn't seek to want to learn anything. The conscious seeks to learn everything. The conscious seeks to be able to arrive at the point almost of perfection, like a Malcolm X, where you come to perfect yourself every day, knowing the better you are, the better person you are, the better able you are to fight for your people. The conscious doesn't come to learn about Malcolm X from a movie. No, not at all. As a matter of fact, just commenting on movies, I said, if I go to see a movie about Malcolm X, and when I walk out the movie door, after having seen the movie, I don't have more hatred for injustice, I don't feel more enthused about transforming myself to being a more perfect human being, I have not seen a film on Malcolm X. This aspect of the conscious wanting to transform themselves is clear. We give clear examples from that of Malcolm X, who transformed himself from a pimp to a revolutionary. From someone who would sell his woman to someone who would take a bullet for his women. This is what consciousness means. We say we must have the conscious. A man was telling me the other day, he said, since the 1960s, I've seen our people made no advancements. I said, oh, they've made great advancements. He said, no, I don't see it. I said, it's because you don't see it, don't mean it's not happening. The greatest advancement any people can make is when they start thinking together, especially for people who don't think together. And while certainly it has been difficult, these Africans are beginning to think together. It's going to be a difficult struggle because the enemy knows once we think together, he's finished since we already act together. And this great action which we always have together against the forces of oppression, once we come to think seriously, analyze them, and every brother and sister is sharp, knowing exactly who the enemy is, I tell you, we will be free. We will be free. This task then of the conscious to organize the unconscious must be constant. It must be unstopping. One of the last differences I would like to point out between the conscious and the unconscious, now there are many, I'm just giving us some, is that the conscious recognizes that the struggle is eternal. The unconscious is confused by American capitalism. They think that you struggle for a little bit, you'll be free, and then you'll sit down and enjoy life like a great consumer. Any society that's a society of consumers is a doomed society. Society of producers are a society that will live forever. Human beings both consume and produce. But any conscious human being knows they must produce more than they consume. Anytime you consume more than you produce, you are living the essence of an animal. Animals cannot produce, all they can do is consume. But we can produce as human beings. Therefore, our job is to produce. And we say the conscious human being must produce more than they consume because they must leave something for future generations. But America is such a backward society. The international MFs are so backward that they make generations put their make present generations put their future generations in debt. Therefore, not only do they leave nothing for their children, they make their children pay for the good time that they had. The conscious must know the society in which they live, and they must know the values of the society so they know precisely what they're fighting against. This aspect of the conscious is crucial. Our people lack conscious elements. This is our greatest problem. We will fight at the drop of a hat. We are great at mobilizing, we've said it. We can mobilize over 1 million like that. And those million who's gone there, they'll tell you, I was there, I was in the march, man, it was good, it was the best time I ever had in my life. What you do since then? Oh, I was there, it was great, you should have been there. What have you done since then? Oh, we were there, we sent out positive vibrations throughout the country. What have you done since then? The question is not spontaneous action, but perpetual action. As a matter of fact, someone who went to the march should be doing more than those who did not go to the march. But since they went to the march, be confused by American capitalist values, they think they have done what they should have done for their people for the rest of their lives. You can never, ever pay the debt you owe to your people if you work for them every day of your life. You shall forever be in debt to them, and this is the debt you must always try to pay. The conscious knows what's going on in the world. When they talk about problems in Africa, the conscious already analyzed it. Man came run to me and said, look like Africa's finished. I laughed. Africa finished? She was here before anybody else is. And she shall be here after everybody else is. There's no question about that. But it looks like it's going backwards. I said, why is that? He said, look at it. I said, oh, I don't see it going backwards at all. I see it going properly forward. He said, look at Africa. Look at her. She's under all neo-colonialism. I said, of course she is. You see that? I said, you know nothing about Africa. You've not studied her. Kwame Ture has a title of a book that would tell you exactly where it's going. The title of his book is Neo-Colonialism, the last, underline the word, the last stage of imperialism. All right. The great V.I. Lenin wrote a book at the turn of the 19th century. It was called Imperialism, the highest stage of capitalism. But Osajifo's book is entitled neocolonialism, the last stage of imperialism. If you study very well, you will see that Osagyefo is absolutely correct. After this, Africa is going straight to a unified socialist continent, and nothing can stop it. Nothing can stop it. Nothing can stop it. No force on earth can stop it. Proper analysis will show us how clear we are. The man said, look at Liberia, look at Somalia. I said, look at the enemy. This problem must be put into head. The conscience knows that in no way can they anytime, under any condition, analyze any aspect of our lives and leave the police out, leave the oppressor out. Anytime you make any analysis of an oppressed people and you leave the oppressor out, you must blame the oppressed. I remember when they were talking about drugs. Man came to me, they said, we got a meeting with you, we want to come, we got an anti-drug squad. I went down to meet them. They were full of enthusiasm. When they finished, they said, what have you to say? I said, if y'all want to fight drugs and you ain't ready to take on the police, leave it alone. But what the police got to do with this? We talking about pushers, we talking about users. I'm talking about the police, the real source of the drugs. Our party in 1975, inside the party itself, had a program that we initiated called Smash the FBI and the CIA. In 1977, we circulated a letter to all the progressive and revolutionary organizations in this country, asking them to form a coalition to smash the FBI and the CIA. They thought we were crazy, but we continued our work. We know our people. Today, it's the unconscious elements that's exposing the CIA and the FBI, not the conscious. So if the unconscious is whipping them, you know what the conscious gonna do to them. The unconscious made the CIA send their chief liar into what? To lie to the people and say, the CIA ain't giving you no drugs. Everybody knows the CIA. Anybody who's conscious knows the CIA been pushing drugs. The CIA been doing all sorts of tests on people. Anybody knows the CIA know what scum they are. So you know anything that goes wrong, you can just point to them and you're sure to be correct. That's a fact, yes. Of course, if the CIA are dropping off drugs in the community, who's pushing it? The police. It's clear. The CIA has direct links with the police. Direct. So therefore, it's the police who push it in the community. The CIA drops it off and they push it. We all know this. So I'm just saying, when you start to analyze your people, if you don't analyze the enemy, you blame us for drugs. Well, I know what's wrong with us people. You know that Kwame Ture, he always blaming the white man for everything. Well, you don't have to take drugs. Well, the policeman not supposed to bring drugs in the community. You say, if he don't bring it, we won't take it. But as long as he's bringing it, and they have the conditions they have, you can be sure some people in our community are going to take it. That's just the reality of life. When you make a condition to try and correct human behavior, you make it impossible for people to do bad things. You don't make possible for them. No. You make it impossible. Because there is double nature. We all have it. No matter how honest you are, there's always a temptation to lie. And it will be there until you die. Our father used to tell me all the time, he said, son, if you decide to tell the truth, stick with it. He said, because you can tell the truth all the days of your life, and just before you're about to die, tell a lie and have everyone discover it. So once you start to tell the truth, you must make conditions which make it impossible for you to lie. Make it impossible. This question of love and hatred must be properly understood. When you love your people, you must hate the enemies of your people. If you don't hate the enemies of your people, it's because you don't love your people. I have a burning hatred. I have a burning hatred for the enemy of my people. Man, so you're not supposed to hate. Listen, if you know love, you must have the capacity to hate. Man told me he was a Christian. So I heard you talk a lot of times about this hatred. I'm a Christian, and for us Christians, there's no such thing as hate. I asked him, Do you love the devil? I asked him, do you love sin? If you're a Christian, you got to hate sin. And if you're a good Christian, you better hate the devil with all your strength, all your might, all your soul. Because if you don't hate the devil with everything you got in it, the devil will trick you. I mean, if you hate the devil but you like the way he dresses, he'll finish you. Look, I got a suit made just for you. Try it on. Looks just like the one I'm wearing. So your hatred against the enemy must be total. Your hatred against the enemy must be total. This can only be properly understood by the conscious. The conscious knows precisely what the enemy is trying to do. The enemy, look at him. If he doesn't shoot you with a bullet, if he can't give you cancer, he will corrupt you. There's every possible means that the enemy will use to get you. It's only total hatred of the enemy that will keep you away from him. The conscious knows this. Therefore, the conscious is not afraid to tell anybody, I hate injustice with a passion. I hate the enemies of my people with a passion. And yes, if I had the choice, I will strike them down immediately without thinking about it twice. The job of the conscious is to organize the masses of our people. No equation anywhere in history is ever made without the people. Nowhere. Nowhere. In this country, every movement is made by the people. Every movement forward is made by the mass of people, even though they're unconscious. Even though they're totally unconscious. We said our people are beginning to think together, and they are. I remembered when in about 1972, I had not been to Mississippi in some years, and they insisted I come by to see them. And in Jackson, I was driving up to the Delta, and I think I stopped in either Yazoo or Tallahatchie County. I forgot which ones. And when stopping there, I stopped to see a family I knew. And one of the, well, then young girls had grown up now, and she had a baby. So she wanted to come and see a baby. Of course, I went and see the baby. I said, what's the baby's name? She said, if I remember correctly, something like Chugugugu. I said, oh, that's a nice one. Where'd you get it from? What part of Africa? She said, oh, I made it up myself. Does it sound African? I said, sure enough, do. This was 1972. She was trying to make up an African name for her child. If you go through our generation today, a good 25% of our youth have African names. It's not haphazard. It's not haphazard. And this is not even the conscious. We're talking about the unconscious. If you look everywhere, our unconscious are moving fast. I remember when this pig of the CIA went to Watts, they had him on a television station. I was watching it. I said, I want to see this. After he was finished lying, the first sister jumped up and asked him a question. She came out, her hair was all fried all the way down. I said, now what is she going to say, You know what that sister said to him? First thing out of her mouth, I sure hope this ain't going to be like Tuskegee. What? Where's she coming from? She's unconscious. I don't know. I hope this ain't like Tuskegee. After that, they just kept hitting him and hitting him and hitting him until he had to run out the place. And that's the unconscious. That's not the conscious. That's not people like in our party who've been studying the CIA, know how they bring drugs in the country, know exactly what they do, know how they overthrow countries, know what they're doing in Africa. No, they don't even know all that. But they feel it instinctively and they move, and it's the unconscious that's coming to the forefront of struggle. The conscious have to run to catch them. The conscious will have to run to catch them if the conscious is not there to properly help transform them, not direct them.